wherever you are. We prepared this webinar because we would like to acknowledge the fact that for some of you, it's either the first time you're attending a conference or it's your first international conference. We hope that after this webinar, you'll be able to have some general information and a general overview of the Youth Pre-Conference and the ICFP. And we're going to focus a little bit on the mentorship program and some tips on the power of preparing. The Youth Pre-Conference for ICFP 2018 and all youth activities before, during, and after ICFP has been a year-plus effort. And we've had about 64 organizations that you'll have a chance to see on the website who have pulled in their resources and their time to invest in the ICFP 2018 youth. We're really grateful for the youth subcommittee members and especially to the Youth Pre-Conference donors. And I am Kate Baye-Easton. I'm one of the co-chairs of the youth subcommittee. The other webinar presenters are Carolina Salmoran at the Gates Institute and Emily Sullivan and Taylor Sheridan from FP 2020, whom we have to thank for this platform and for putting together this webinar. So let's get to it. Okay, great. So to begin with, for some of you, it's the first time traveling, and for others, it's the first time in Rwanda. So we wanted to show you, where you're going and where Rwanda is. So if you look at the circle in bold, that's exactly where you have Rwanda. And the official languages are Kinyarwanda and English and French. We want to move forward by giving you some tips while you're traveling. Things to keep in mind: the Rwandan currency is the Rwandan franc, and most international currencies can be exchanged at banks and forex bureaus. There are ATMs throughout Rwanda that are accessible to visitors, and some supermarkets and restaurants take credit cards. Something else I want you to keep in mind is if you do require a visa to travel to Rwanda, it's advisable and preferable if you get your visa prior to travel. But if you apply for a visa on arrival, there's a $30 fee which you should have at the airport, either in US dollars or in Rwandan francs. I've also included on the slide deck, which you're going to receive after this, some helpful links, hopefully, for dinner, shopping, tourism after the conference, or just, if you want to learn more about Rwanda and connect with your embassies and consulates. The temperature in Kigali during the conference is between 18 to 22 degrees. I've never been, but that's what I heard. And November is the beginning of the rainy season, so you should plan for that. In the night, it does get really cold, so maybe you should probably bring a jacket. The electricity in Rwanda is 220 volts, and we've included pictures of what the electrical outlets generally look like. But keep in mind that if you have a universal adapter, it might be best for most hotels. Rwanda is one of the safest countries in Africa, but in the case of an emergency, there's a toll-free number, which is 112. And on arrival in Rwanda, you will be able to get a SIM card at the airport, and most hotels will offer you free internet. So some general, things to keep in mind as well when you get to the airport. All of the delegates for the 2018 conference are going to be welcomed by a team of ushers, and there will be a tent at the airport to welcome you and answer questions that you possibly have. And there's been transports been organized for transportation between the airport and the hotel and the conference venue. There's shuttles, so that is all taken care of. For registration, it's advisable that when you arrive, you register for the conference and the pre-conference as soon as possible. Because you're attending the youth pre-conference, we're going to try to make sure that the registration is at the same place and is combined, and it will be at the Kigali Convention Center, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. We will always have a help desk, and you should also keep in mind that we will have information available for health facilities. We know that some of you have had questions about health and medical issues, and there'll be a standby medical team at the convention center if you need any help. Another question that we've received, and I just wanted to touch on, is about the yellow fever vaccination card. It's preferable and better if you do have your yellow fever vaccination card instead of waiting to try to get the vaccine at the airport. If you do not require, if you're certain you don't require a yellow fever vaccination card to travel to Rwanda, it's best that you really check and verify that first. You see a little guy there drinking water. We're trying to remind you that it's not advisable to drink tap water and it's best to drink bottled water. Okay, now moving on to the real reason we are all going to Rwanda. We have given you a snapshot of what it's going to look like. I'm just going to go back to my slide. Right there. We've given you a snapshot of what the days are going to look like. So first, most of you will be coming in on the 9th. And first of all, congratulations on being a participant at ICFP. It's going to be a great week. The pre-conference would start on the 10th, and it's going to run from 8:30 to 5:30 on the 10th, which is a Saturday. And on Sunday, it's going to be 8:30 to 5:30 as well. And at 7 o'clock on the Sunday, we're going to have a mentorship meetup for those who are in a mentorship program. And Carolina is going to talk about that in a few minutes. Something to keep in mind about the convention center. It's called Kigali Convention Center, and it's a facility managed by the Radisson Blu Hotel. It is located just about 15-minute drive from the airport. Now, we are going to have youth pre-conference activities on Monday, but that is just up until 11:30, after which the youth pre-conference will be over. And there's going to be a ministerial lunch in the place where we have the youth pre-conference. Following that, the opening ceremony for the main conference is from it's from 4 p.m. on the 13th, and on the 12th. 4:30 p.m. on the 12th, we have the opening ceremony for the main conference, and then the main conference kicks off and continues up until the 15th. Okay, moving on. We do want to talk a little bit about the youth pre-conference because that's obviously why you all joined the call. Now, the youth pre-conference, as I mentioned, is being organized and put together by 64 organizations led by the International Youth Alliance for Family Planning, IYAFP, and that's a sneak peek, a poster for the youth pre-conference. Now, what will your days at the youth pre-conference look like? We have provided this snapshot for you to be able to see what your days would generally look like, but just keep in mind, we're going to have breakout sessions. We're going to have sessions in plenary. And this snapshot and the link to the entire program is found online. I think I'll be able to show you how to get to it online. What we are hoping is that you're going to walk out of the pre-conference with a useful skill in network connections or both. So it's very interactive. It's planned with no panels. It's meant for everybody who's leading a session or facilitating to actually interact with youth directly. Okay, another question we've had, who is coming to the youth pre-conference? And I just wanted you to have a brief overview. It's going to be huge. We have to date about 620 participants registered. We have 54 countries represented. And as you probably can imagine, we have a focus on ages 17 to 35. We will have 63 breakout sessions distributed through the days. And they're going to cover an array of topics. As you can see, the word cloud is all the topics and themes that we're going to be covering during the pre-conference breakout sessions. Now let's look at what the website looks like, and more specifically, what the ICFP main conference looks like. So this might take a couple of minutes, but on the slide, you can see the main conference starting at 4:30 p.m. on the 12th. You have a welcoming reception, and the rest of the days, you're going to have both the scientific program with our presentations. You're going to have poster presentations, and in all of these, you are going to have lunch sessions and plenaries every day. Okay, as soon as the website loads up, we'll be able to see how to navigate the website. We do advise that it's best if you can take a moment to get on the ICFP website. You're going to receive this link. You're going to receive this link with the slide deck. So it's best to get on the website and just find out all the information you can. And there's so many questions you have that we can probably answer, that can be answered on the website. So I'm going to scroll through it if it lets me. Okay, so it's taken a little bit of time, but first of all, I wanted to go through and show you the program and the fact that the program is really easily navigatable. You can get in and check out the program, think about the things you would like to do, start thinking about building yourself a personal calendar. Okay, here it is. As you can see, there are the different days have exactly what's going to be going on. You have on the left side, you have the speakers, side events, pre-conferences. You can navigate and click through and filter to figure out what will be happening. There is a lot going to be happening during the conference. Now, the other page I would have liked to show you, which yes, I'll be able to show you, is the youth pre-conference. For the youth, so here's the youth page. For the youth pre-conference, if you want to see the youth pre-conference agenda, you'll be able to click there and click through the agenda, which is a PDF. Okay, here you go. Okay, there. So you'll be able to scroll through, see the agenda. You can click to see the specific agenda. Another thing I wanted to just show you, all the organizations that came together to put this youth pre-conference together, and particularly the donors that we have to thank for the funds to run the pre-conference. Okay, back to the slide. Oh, there you go. Great. Now, what should you definitely not miss? There is definitely a lot going on, but the things we wanted to highlight for you, the opening ceremony and the welcome reception, November 12th at 4:30 p.m. The youth plenary, which we are also planning and organizing, and a good number of those on the call are on the youth plenary, is November 14th at 8:30 a.m. Every conference day will start with a major plenary, which addresses the entire audience, all of those at the conference. So on Tuesday, November 13th, we are going to start with a plenary. And on Wednesday, November 14th, we are starting with the youth plenary at 8:30 a.m. And we will have a plenary on the next day as well. Every day we're going to have lunch, and we're going to have lunch symposiums and roundtables, so keep an eye out for that. We'll have a red carpet celebration, which is an evening among the stars with celebrities and stars. November 13th at 5:45 p.m. And then we have an FP Pitch Fest, which will include some youth and will be part of the carryover from our FP Pitch Fest during the youth pre-conference to the conference to include other CEOs, November 14th at 5:45 p.m. And of course, we'll have the closing ceremony on the 15th, and that's another space where youth are going to be actively involved. The gift that you see is the part of the closing ceremony for 2015. It's going to be like a mini concert. Great. Okay. What else should you keep in mind? During the youth pre-conference, which is from the 10th to the 12th, you're going to be very focused on youth. The program was designed by youth for youth, is really focused on youth. On the 12th, when you start the main conference, there are still a lot of youth activities that you should keep in mind, get connected with, and find out about. First, there's the youth track and the youth side events. If you go to the website where I was a few minutes ago, you'll be able to look through the program and sort through and find the youth track and find the different activities and side events that are youth focused. We will have a youth lounge during the duration of the conference, the 12th to the 15th, which is focused on youth. During lunches and breaks, we're going to have very specific youth events, including a mentor meetup and speed dating, including activities regarding advocacy. It'll be a place for youth to hang out, to talk to each other, to meet mentors, to attend the activities going on. It's going to be like the youth zone during the conference. Then there's a youth cultural event that is being organized by the ICFP 2018 youth delegates. By ICFP 2018 youth delegates, I'm talking specifically about the youth who applied to and were successful at the youth video contest, which held earlier this year. They're organizing a youth cultural event, which is going to be on the 14th, and you're going to hear more about it. It's going to be on the 14th after the FP Fest. Great, that's about the youth spaces and the events. Now, we're all very social and we want to know how to connect. Some of you have already started connecting with the conference and everything going on social media, and I just wanted to give you a little bit about the social media and the hashtags and the handles. First of all, there will be a virtual conference, and you're going to hear about this a little bit later, a lot more. There will be a virtual conference which is going to run parallel to the conference. So even those who are not able to be in Kigali will be able to interact with the conference and attend the conference virtually. Now, information about this has already been going out on the ICFP Facebook page and the website and the newsletter, which I hope that all of you are subscribed to. The hashtags for the ICFP is hashtag ICFP 2018, and for the youth is hashtag ICFP youth. When you're on Twitter, if you do tweet about the conference before, during, or after, it'll be great if you can include the handle for ICFP, which is at ICFP 2018. We are going to be counting on you to help boost the social media around the conference and the youth pre-conference while it's going on. Something else that is going to be really great for everyone is that we are going to have a conference mobile app. So your program and everything that you can see online are going to be on an app that you'll be able to download and use. I really hope that all of this is getting you ready and excited for November. And now I'll hand it over to Carolina, who can walk through some elements of the mentorship program. Carolina, over to you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Carolina from the Gates Institute. I know I've been answering a lot of emails from some of you. I hope you guys are getting excited for the Youth Pre-Conference. We are super excited to have you join us. So let's get through this and see if we can go to the mentorship. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Sorry, oh, there we go. So this year we are doing our mentorship program once again, and we're very excited because of the large number of youth that are coming. We have had, I believe we had over 500 mentors sign up to want to mentor one of you guys. So this is really exciting. We've matched up over 400 of you, and those will be going out on Friday. So please expect an email with your mentor information and how to contact them on Friday, as well as a guideline for what the mentorship expectations are and all those things to get you kind of acquainted with the mentorship program. We did develop the matches based on your survey information. We took your languages, we took your interests, your experiences, where you work, and your preferred method of communication, and really tried to find what best matches for what you wanted. So we've listened, we've done our best, and so you will get to see who you've been matched up with. We will be having a mentorship dinner November 11th, and that is going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. We will be sending out those invitations for everybody that will be there. we understand that not everybody's mentor will be able to come. And so please just try to be there. If not your mentor, there will be plenty of other mentors that will be there, and you will be able to network and try to talk to a lot of different people. We will be sending out with your matchup the guidelines, and those will include a little bit about your expectations and what the minimum requirements are. So as we outlined for many people when they signed up, the minimum requirements are for you to reach out to your mentor at least once before. So once you get your email Friday, please plan to reach out to your mentor. The responsibility is on you to be the first contact. So you will need to reach out to them and try to establish an appointment, a meeting time to call or to email, WhatsApp, Skype, whatever you have. And that will be your responsibility. So please do take the initiative to make that contact. And sometimes it might take 1 to 2 emails, maybe 3 before the mentor will answer you, because please know that these mentors are very busy. And so just don't get discouraged. And if you still have trouble communicating with your mentor, please let us know. We will try to bridge that for you. So let's go on to the next slide. So just a little bit about mentorship do's and don'ts. I know we've had a lot of communication about the mentorship before, so I just wanted to throw these out there for you to kind of get into the mindset of what can be expected and what you definitely should not be doing. So we've outlined several do's. So do practice the 3 R's. So be respectful, responsible, and responsive. Your mentors are going out of their way to accept to be your mentor. So if they respond to you, please take the time to respond promptly. Also, do have a clear vision of what areas, projects, or plans that you would like guidance with. Don't just kind of come up to your mentor and say, oh, I don't know what I want. I mean, really kind of be prepared. Also, before you talk to them, it is advisable that you prepare short-term and long-term goals to share with your mentor as you get to know them. So try to learn a little bit about them, identify their strengths and expertise, and really think about what can you learn from them and how will those expertise fit into your short and long-term goals. Your mentor would really benefit from getting to know what you would like out of the relationship, what your goals are, and that way he or she can assess how they can help you. We would suggest also that you look at the conference program and have a list of sessions that you would like to attend with your mentor. One of the requirements for the mentorship program is that you attend a session with your mentor. What that session is up to you both. So please have a list of sessions that you think you would like to attend and share those with your mentors so you can agree to join one together. Lastly, be a good listener and allow your mentor to share their experiences and opinions. I know we all get very excited to talk about ourselves and really share our plans and goals. So please be a good listener and allow them to tell you about themselves and their experiences as well. Okay, now for the don'ts. Don't reach out without having done your homework and researching your mentor and their expertise. So be prepared when you go in to talk to them. Also, and I understand that a lot of mentors don't have public profiles, and that's fine, but at least you tried. Secondly, don't be afraid to reach out to your mentor more than once. Like I said before, many are very busy. They may take 2 or 3 email reminders before they return your message. And also, when you send those messages, don't send lengthy emails. Make it short and sweet. The shorter and the more concise your message is, the more likely you are to get a prompt reply. And don't forget to always check your spelling and grammar. We would like for everybody to double check your spelling and grammar. Make sure you are being very cautious with what you're saying and that everything comes out very professional. Also, don't present a problem without having considered the potential solutions. Come prepared to discuss with your mentor. Your mentor is not a problem solver. He is someone you can bounce ideas off, someone you can discuss your problems, someone that would help you get to a potential solution with your input as well. So don't expect them to solve all your problems for you. This is a two-way street. Lastly, don't expect short-term benefits such as employment, references, etc. Focus on really building your relationship. If those things come out naturally, that's wonderful, but we don't want you to go into this mentorship expecting something directly out of it. These are relationships that we hope you will nourish for a long time, and we hope that they will flourish and really, really develop into great relationships for the future. So with that being said, that is it for the mentorship. I know that we will also be having some youth events at the Youth Lounge. There is also a scheduled speed networking, things like that, with during the conference. But as far as the mentorship goes, this is the heart of it. So we will be sending out those details on Friday. Look out for that email. And if you have any questions, you can always email info@fpconference.org. And we try to answer your emails as soon as possible. And I'll turn this back to Taylor.
Great. Great. Thank you very much, Carolina. This is Emily from Family Planning 2020, and I'm going to be walking you through a couple of additional tips for planning for the conference. I'm going to let the platform connect a bit. It doesn't seem to be allowing me to change the slide. Great, there it goes. Okay, so far, Kate has gone through some of the logistics, some of the ways you can plan for this ICFP opportunity, and some of the do's and don'ts of mentoring. Building a relationship with your mentor is something that Carolina has gone through. So I just wanted to say at the start that on behalf of FP 2020, it's really a pleasure to speak with you all today. And at FP 2020, we're really excited about young people's leadership and engagement in this conference, not just during the conference, but also in the follow-up. So please know that we are eager to collaborate with you beyond this point. And I trust that many of the partners developing the youth pre-conference also feel this way. So despite all the excitement, we also know that attending a conference as large as ICFP can be quite daunting. There will be thousands of people there, hundreds of sessions in a very large venue. So this means that preparing is important, which is why we've called this webinar The Power of Preparing. So first, let's go over just a couple of things about planning. If you haven't done these things yet, don't worry, but I would suggest you get started now. So take a moment to think of all of the local and international partners that you know that would be likely to attend ICFP. Reach out to them to let them know you're coming. People might not know that you'll be there, but it's important to let them know so that you have a chance to schedule meetings over coffee breaks or over lunch. This is a great opportunity to network. So in addition to setting up meetings with those who you know will be there, it's also important to think about what you want to say to the new partners when you get a chance to sit down with them. Take some time sitting on your bed or sitting on the couch to think about what you want to say and build out some few key messages. Make sure that when you get the chance to meet new potential collaborators, that you have a few key points that you want to make sure when they walk away from you at the end of your conversation, that they've learned something about you and your work and how you might be able to work together. So think about those things ahead of time. In addition, know that at the conference, at the youth pre-conference, we will have large buttons that you can wear. And on those buttons, you're going to be able to fill in a sentence, a short sentence, which will say, ask me about, and then you fill it in yourself. So the idea is that you're going to be wearing a button, or you can, it's optional, of course. You can wear a button that will tell people, hey, come talk to me about fundraising, or you can say, come talk to me about youth engagement in Zambia, or come talk to me about youth services in River State, Nigeria. Whatever it is that you know a lot about, put that on your button, and it will allow you to start a conversation with a new partner. So you've told your partners that you're coming, or potential partners that you'd like to work with. You've developed a short list of resources, a short list of messages. You've thought about what you're going to put on your button. And then the last thing for planning here is to think about the conference agenda. It's very large, but as Kate showed you, the online platform is easy to navigate. So please think about what networking events and side events and sessions you want to attend. You'll have a much easier time navigating if you've already gone through the agenda and selected what you do or do not want to attend. Next slide. Great. So before you leave home, there's a few additional things that we'd like you to consider doing. The first is that, as those of you who have attended conferences before know, they're both about learning and networking. So an important key to networking is having business cards. If you don't have business cards, I would suggest that you download a free template from online. They're often, if you just Google Microsoft Word business card template, you'll be able to find free templates online and create one. If you don't have time to do this, there'll also be a station at the youth pre-conference where you can fill a couple of out, but it would likely be good to bring a good set of them before you come. Don't worry if they're not fancy or, made of really strong paper. Just it will help with networking if you have at least 100 business cards with you. That would be ideal. In addition to the business card, it would be a good idea to bring a one-page paper or a brochure explaining some of the work that you do. This will allow people to get more information about you in their downtime, perhaps on the plane ride home or on coffee breaks. They'll take a minute to read more about what you do. That way, if you don't get a chance to explain everything, you can pass them your business card and a simple brochure or paper about your work. So also before leaving, you want to double check your agenda. Make sure you're not double booked for anything. Make sure you haven't set up a meeting with two people too close together and too far apart of the venue. Just make sure, confirm your meetings and appointments. That said, the venue is quite large. So take a look and see how far apart your meetings are or which sessions you want to attend, and get a feel for how big the conference actually is. Oops, sorry, I actually skipped ahead a little bit. But after you've confirmed your meetings, we'd like you to really understand the logistics that are there. So understand how you actually get to the venue. That's more what I meant. To understand how you get to the venue from the hotel. And as Kate said, there'll be a lot of people to help you along the way. Now, one last thing we want you to be sure to pack is what we're calling a survival kit. This is a charger, an adapter, some breath mints for those after the coffee breaks, and your business cards. This is something you'd want to have on you at all times during the workshop or during the conference, just to make sure that you're really able to not miss any opportunities for networking because you have to run back to the hotel to get your phone charger or you forget your business cards. Great. Next slide. So as Kate mentioned, when you arrive, one of the things you'll need to do is to pick up your badge. This can take a long time if you're one of the last people and the queue is really long. So what we would suggest is getting there early and making sure that you don't lose time in other places that you'd rather be than just standing in line to pick up your badge. But you should also bring your business cards with you because you never know who you're going to meet while waiting in line for your badge. The second point here is what I was mentioning earlier, which is to familiarize yourself with the venue. It will be quite large, so you want to make sure that the meetings that you have booked or the sessions you're meant to speak in aren't too far apart, or you know where they are. So I would take the first opportunity you have to get inside the venue to identify the rooms where you're speaking, the places where you've set up meetings, and just get a sense of where you need to be and when. And the last tip here that you want to think about when arriving is every day just dressing for success. Make sure you're comfortable because it will be long days, and think about the shoes that you're going to be wearing all day long. But also know that it's important to dress for success and to dress as a professional, which you all are. Great. So I want to emphasize that even after the conference, it's not over. And so what this means is that after you head home and once you're on the plane back home, take track of who do you need to follow up with? Who do you want to send thank you notes to? Who do you want to email to remind them about who you are, your work, and possible opportunities for collaboration? As Carolina mentioned, many of the people you'll meet are quite busy, just like many of yourselves are quite busy. So keep the emails short and brief and sweet, but remind people about your conversation that you had during the conference. If you're being sponsored to attend the conference, it would be an excellent idea to send a quick thank you note explaining, thanking the organizers of your participation, but also letting them know what you learned and what you gained out of the experience. This will help them to understand how to support you going forward, your interests and things that you want to do. I know that the Gates Institute would also love for me to remind you all that it's important to complete a post-conference survey that will be emailed out, and I understand there may even be a prize for those who fill out the survey. So those are just some tips for success. Nothing too dramatic or too exciting. It's all just simple things that will help you to prepare and help you to make the conference worthwhile. Thanks. Over to, I believe, Kate.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Emily. Because you're going to be traveling, you might run into issues with your flight, your itineraries, and things like that. It is good for you to have the contact information of the person who booked your flight. So if you went to a travel agent, ask for your travel agent's contact information. If you were booked through an organization, ask them for someone you can reach out to if you have any issues with your flight or your itinerary. Giving an example of last ICFP when we're traveling to Indonesia and there were issues with, and flights were canceled and people had to get back. It's always good to know whom you can reach out to. For those whose flights were booked by the Gates Institute, to reach out to Llewellyn. We will have a hotline available in Kigali, so a number which is really for emergencies and things that come up when you are at the conference, like when you get there. While we won't be able to address any concerns regarding your flight per se, we will be able to handle any issues that you come across while in Kigali. So we'll share that hotline information closer to D-Day. Now, if you try to reach the hotline and you really are not able to reach the hotline, because that's your first contact. If you're not able to reach anybody, and trust me, you probably will be, then you can go on to email me at youth@fpconference.org, like some of you have been doing, or you can contact me on WhatsApp. That's my phone number. And last, if you really cannot get to anyone on the hotline, I am not responding to the email, you can get to me on WhatsApp, then you reach out to Diane Mutamba. But I do want to mention that it's really preferable because the hotline, my number, and Diane, these are 3 different people. It's best if you don't reach out to all 3 at once because you could create a panic. So your first line is the hotline, and it's only if you don't get a response within a reasonable amount of time. Great. Next slide. Do we have a next slide? Thanks. So there is an ICFP General Conference webinar. As you might have noticed, this webinar was very focused on youth participants on the youth pre-conference, but there's a general ICFP webinar which we will advise you to attend if you need more information about the conference and want to have more general questions answered. We're hoping that all of you are signed up to the newsletter, and you should have received information to register for this webinar yesterday or this morning. Now we are going to move on to answer some questions. I will start with the questions that I already have, and then we can see if others have questions as we go along. Now, great. The questions we've received. I saw a question from Smith. Is the event fully funded for all attendees? Okay, so let's talk about who is on this call. Now, the pre-conference, as I mentioned, would have more than 600 participants. Of these 600 participants, we have about 100 who applied to and were successful at the youth video contest. Those youth who got a sponsorship based on their youth video contest application will be attending the youth pre-conference on this call. Then we have young researchers who, because of their research on papers that we presented on the conference, will be sponsored by the Gates Institute. We have some 120 under 40 winners, but most of all, we have a lot of you who are sponsored by your organizations or who have been sponsored by other organizations who might have seen your work. You are funded to attend the main ICFP conference by these organizations, by these funders. A few people are self-sponsoring themselves, but you have a main funder. The conference is not, generally speaking, funded for everyone. Now, if you are funded to attend the main ICFP and you register and complete your registration for the main ICFP, you should have received an email to register for the youth pre-conference, and that's why you're on this call. Now, if you're attending your youth pre-conference, the youth pre-conference itself is not paid, but it's contingent on the fact that you're attending the main conference. Hope that's clear. Other questions, the slides will definitely be shared. The recording will be shared. Dates for the pre-conference and the conference. The pre-conference will start on the 10th at 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. 11th, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. On the 12th, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And then we're going to have a lunch to which youth are invited. The conference itself starts on the 12th at 4:30 p.m. and runs to the 15th. The next question, how will people know about your hotels? Your hotels, again, are determined by whoever is sponsoring you. For those sponsored by the Gates Institute, you will contact the person with whom you talk daily at the Gates Institute. For those being sponsored by different organizations, you would contact the main person sponsoring you, the person who reached out to you, the person who offered you sponsorship. And if you're sponsoring yourself, then you definitely should know where you will be staying. Did everyone who requested a mentor get one? Carolina, I don't know if you can answer to this. I would say generally speaking, probably.
Yes. So everyone that requested a mentor before the deadline, you will have a mentor. If you try to request after, I can't promise anything because we did shut that site down.
Great, thank you. Carolina had already answered this on the chat. You'll receive information about the matches, mentor-mentee matches on Friday. Another thing I wanted to mention, you've seen the program. It's amazingly huge. You're going to have a lot of requests because you're used to talk to people. You might have interview requests. There's a lot going on. And as much as you're going to have a mobile app, which will help you to plan. Someone asked if we can have a youth planner. You will have a mobile app, which will help you to plan your day out. You're going to have the website, which is easily navigable. But most especially, please don't double book yourself. Don't make commitments you won't be able to keep, please. Just make sure that when you agree to a commitment, you write it down, you stamp it, you don't ask or take on anything during that time period. Because as much as there's a lot going on, you don't want to be disappointing anyone, and you don't want to seem like you're grabbing at every opportunity without being able to commit. So have that in mind. I'm going to look through the questions that came on as I was talking. There's a question about the yellow fever vaccine, which has been answered in the chat. So please check it out. Can we have a schedule of all activities and the names of people that signed up for each? I don't know that I understand the question. What I can say is that for the youth pre-conference, we definitely have a name. We definitely have the names of the participants. The youth pre-conference participants signed up to specific sessions, and you'll be able to have a reminder of what sessions you signed up to, because I know there's a difference between when you're signing up, and when you're looking at it after. You'll have a reminder of the sessions you signed up to. Another question is about how long are the sessions. So generally speaking, we have a plenary. We start as a group of 600 plus. We have something in plenary. And then when we move on to breakout sessions, they're about an hour to an hour, 30 minutes each. You're going to have lunch breaks, of course, and you're going to have coffee breaks in the morning and in the afternoon, except on Monday. Will there be different badges for the youth pre-conference and the main conference? Generally speaking, yes, we are looking for a way to combine it into one while you're at the youth pre-conference, but you will have different badges because you will have slightly different information. But you'll be able to put aside the youth pre-conference information while at the main conference. Okay, what other question? Who should we contact for the accommodation for 120 under 40? So Kushbu, you are contacting me. 120 under 40 is Lillian because she's been talking with you guys. Oh, and Sarah. Is there a specific dress code? Generally speaking, Emily, I think you mentioned the dress code. There's really no dress code. Just dress professional.
Yeah, I think just for the red carpet event, it's called a red carpet event, but you don't need to be dressing like you're going to the, Academy Awards or any famous fashion show or anything like that. Just dress professionally. Everyone will likely still be in their same clothes for the conference. So just dress professionally.
Right, because it's really immediately after, not long after. Is it true that East Africans don't need visas and yellow fever vaccinations? Well, really, I wouldn't say that on a call. I would say that it's best to check online and with your embassy.
You can see that Taylor just forwarded the visa information as well as the yellow fever links in the chat. So do check that. But better to be safe than sorry than to get to the border and realize that you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. Are there questions that I'm missing, Emily and Carolina?
Yes, they asked about the badging. And,
okay.
They're asking if there is a separate badge for the youth pre-conference.
Okay, so I said the youth pre-conference will have a separate badge. We will attempt to combine them so you're not holding two badges. We will attempt to combine the sign-in and the registration for both. But there is separate information on the piece of paper that you would call a youth pre-conference badge from what's on the conference badge. So you would need that because not everybody attending the conference is attending the pre-conference, and not everybody attending the pre-conference is attending for the entire duration of the pre-conference. So you will have a badge, you will have a designation based on what you signed up as, so yes, you will have that.
And just to add on to that, we will have a designated badge pickup zone. As soon as you get to the KCC, we will have some very obviously marked booths where you go in to pick up your badge. So
and
don't
the KCC is the Kigali conference. Okay, great.
I'm trying to see if there are any other questions. I don't see any.
There was a question if you could elaborate or clarify a little bit more on the don'ts for the mentorship program.
Sure. So can you please scroll back to those just so we can go back to them? So these are very general don'ts, and I'm sure there are a lot of other don'ts that we didn't add here, but we highly suggest that as a mentee, you do your research. about your mentor, where he works, where he or she has worked before, and what expertise they have that you would like to learn from. So that'll help you generate questions. It'll feed the discussion. It'll be a lot more helpful for both of you. Also, we did say to not be afraid to reach out more than once, like we've said before, and they mentioned also in the preparation. You might need to reach out more than once, 2-3 times. Don't be afraid; it'll be okay. And do make those emails short and sweet. Nobody likes to read a very, very long novel in an email, so make it short. Always check your spelling and your grammar. We want you guys to sound professional. We want you guys to come across very positively and very prepared. So, and this other don't that I presented was one that I heard from a mentor, and he mentioned that he prefers when the mentees present a problem that they've already thought through, that they have thought through all the potential solutions. They really just need somebody to help guide them and to bounce ideas off. So if you want to discuss a problem with your mentor, the mentors suggest that you come prepared with different solutions, with different things you've been thinking about. Don't just throw a problem out there and expect them to solve it for you. And the last don't, which I think is very important, was to don't expect short-term benefits. This is a new relationship, and it is not advisable for you to automatically expect employment or references or letters of recommendation immediately. Those things come later if possible. And so for now, we would just suggest that everybody focuses on building a relationship with their mentor. We hope that these relationships will last long. I know that some of you signed up for long-term mentorships, and so those will be hopefully nurtured throughout more than 1 year. And some of you who don't have time or don't have the ability signed up for short-term mentorships. And for those, we hope you make those meaningful connections during ICFP.
Thank you, Carolina. I've seen a few other questions come in about accommodations, if they're going to be separate. And then a question on site visits, the arrangements for those, and then a third on how many business cards people should be bringing.
Okay. Emily, you can take the business cards. I'll take the accommodation.
Sure. So, Kate, remind me the total number of attendees for ICFP this year?
The ICFP, not the Youth Pre-Conference.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Carolina?
Sure. So as of yesterday, we have had over 3,800 people try to register. Of those, we have had over right about 3,000 that have completed the registration. So we are actually expecting about 3,500 attendees.
Right. So obviously, guys, you're not going to bring 3,500 business cards because that would be crazy and it would fill up your entire suitcase. But I would bring, and I see someone who wants to know how many young people are attending. As Kate mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, there'll be about 600 young people attending. So, if you can, I would bring at least 100 business cards. You might run out with only 100, but that's, you can use them carefully. Don't hand out all your business cards on the first day. Really make sure that you're handing it out to someone who you'd like to follow up with after the conference. So be a bit judicious or careful about how you hand out your business cards if you only have 100 to 200 cards.
Okay. Thanks, Emily. Sorry,
there was another question about site visits, and I don't know if you want to answer that, Kate.
Yeah, I wanted to answer accommodation and site visits. So first of all, accommodation, as I mentioned, your accommodation is managed by whomever is sponsoring you to attend the conference. From the people who have asked the question, I think those are the youth video contest winners, and you'll reach out to me. So I will be sending you that information. Any other person, reach out to whomever is managing your attendance at the conference. The next question about site visits, the first thing I want to say is that you should definitely understand that because this call is for youth pre-conference attendees, I would imagine that you've noticed that the site visits do happen at the same time as the youth pre-conference. And I imagine that you signed up to attend the youth pre-conference, not the site visits. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add, Carolina?
So yes, I'm not sure you actually got to the meat of that, but so youth conference happens at the same time as site visits. So unfortunately for this conference, you will not be able to attend a site visit if you are planning to attend the youth pre-conference as well. I think that's it. And there was a question about a business card. So,
yes. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the business cards are just little, I guess, like 2 inches by 3, maybe.
And if you use the metric system, you'll have to look up what 2 inches is, but essentially a small piece of paper, no bigger than, maybe one, half this, depending on the size of your finger, but it's a small piece of paper.
Right. And people use that to share their personal information, their contact information. And it's a pretty common way of sharing in conferences and other networking settings.
If you Google business card template, you'll see, and it will give you space to just fill in your name, your email, your phone number, and just you can put a little logo on this side or not. Just keep it really simple. Someone else had a good suggestion of if you do run out or before you run out, take a picture of your business card. That way, if you run into people that you want to share it with, you can ask them just to take a picture of the one you have left. So, keep a handful with you and then just ask people to take a picture of your business card rather than physically giving them a business card if you run out.
Right. And also there are some apps out there that allow you to scan other people's business cards and share a virtual copy of your own business card for those that are technologically savvy out there.
And then can we clarify if accommodation will be shared or single rooms? I think that question's popped up a few times.
Okay. Again, that's dependent on the person taking care of your accommodation. It's dependent on the people sponsoring it.
Yes. So some of you may have had shared arrangements, but you would have known already. And for the rest of you, I believe that it would have been a single. But you will find out once you get those emails if you are sponsored by the ICFP through the video contest or as a research award winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any final questions?
Okay, there's a question about accommodation again. Was there a change of hotels from Lamigo? And because it's Lamigo, I'm imagining there's a youth video contest winner question. And yes, there was. And we will be sharing more information about your new accommodation.
But generally speaking, Kate, the guidance is whoever is sponsoring you to attend ICFP is likely the organization that you're meant to be in contact with regarding your accommodation. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So the video contest winners are sponsored by the ICFP, as are the research award winners. So those details will come through in an email from us soon.
So it seems like more questions about the hotel rooms. You guys just keep an eye on your inbox for emails regarding your hotel room. If you haven't heard from your sponsor about your hotel room, reach out to them.
And just to add on, guys, I know that a lot of you have been receiving emails from us, but in your spam box. So please always be checking your spam and make sure that you are actively receiving our emails.
Your spam or your junk box, depending on which platform you use. So check that box. Before we conclude, I would just really encourage everyone. The first time I attended ICFP, I was a video awardee myself. And so I can understand how large of a conference it was. It was intimidating for me. The first time I attended, when I attended in 2012 or 13, I don't remember, in Ethiopia. And I would just like to really encourage everyone, before you go, to think about what you want to get out of the conference. I would physically write it down. It's a big opportunity, and if you don't take the time before you go to really think about who you want to meet with, what you want to say, and what you want to get out of the conference, you'll find yourself frustrated on the plane ride home, or thinking, I didn't get what I wanted to out of this conference. So I just want to encourage everyone to really take some time now before the conference craziness gets underway, and you just take some time to think about that and how you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. This is a very unique opportunity to be among other young people, other young leaders, as well as other international leaders from around the country. Around the world, sorry, not country, around the world. And just a reminder that we'll be sending the slides, we'll be sending the recording of this webinar, and we'll also be sending a checklist of items which you can consider in your preparation for the workshop. Also, as Kate mentioned, the webinar for the whole conference will be next week. Is it next Thursday, Kate?
Yes.
Great. So look out for an invite for that webinar, which will have even more information about the conference as a whole. But hopefully this has given you some ideas of how to prepare and what to think of.
Sounds good.
Great.
Thank you very much, Emily. Thanks, Taylor. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.